Hi everyone and welcome back. The Institute of Public Affairs. Have you ever heard of them? They're a Melbourne-based public policy think tank. That's what they call themselves, basically. They were founded in 1943. They're one of Australia's oldest and probably their best funded influence groups. Their purpose is to influence policy, public debate, legislation, media narratives, and political direction. So they aren't a conspiracy, they're openly proud of what they do. I thought it was appropriate to discuss the Institute of Public Affairs because they were the ones that were involved in the Sky News documentary featuring Tony Abbott that I did a video on. And that video from Tony was Australia, a history. So they produce reports, articles, opinion pieces. Their staff appear on Sky News, in the Australian, that newspaper publication, and in parliamentary submissions as well. Their influence is very real. It's also documented and it's very much intentional. The IPA itself is a not-for-profit organisation, but it does receive donations from individuals, families, philanthropic trusts, corporations. They aren't required to publicly disclose their donors to us. This is very legal, but it does mean Australia doesn't know who funds the messaging that can shape and does shape a lot of national debates. Now they state they support free markets, small government, deregulation, privatisation, individual liberty, framed through an economic lens. Whether you agree or disagree on any of those points is not the point. The point is that they're a messaging organisation with political goals to shape public opinion, to influence public affairs. And most Australians have never even really heard the name or paid much attention to it if they have done so. The IPA staff, you'll see them on Sky News, radio, in newspapers, and they're presented as basically independent experts, not as advocates as such, but with a very specific ideological mission. Now, a lot of IPA researchers have gone on to become political advisors, members of parliament, chiefs of staff, lobbyists, but this creates like a circular loop. We've got think tank to the media, to parliament, to policy, back to the think tank again, and repeat. This is the magic trick. They don't always change policy directly. In fact, they rarely do that. What they do is they change perception, which has the power to change votes. And when you change votes, that has the power to change policy. So some examples of narrative framing they promote could be, we're going to cut through red tape. We're going to reduce government oversight. The cost of net zero, freedom versus regulation. These aren't neutral phrases, they're narrative tools. And once the narrative is normalised, well then politicians repeat it without even realising where it actually originated. Now, I don't believe think tanks themselves are inherently bad. The problem for me personally is just simply transparency. If your neighbour influences your vote, you know who influenced you, you know who spoke to you. If a TV host influences your vote, well, you obviously know who they are as well. But if a public policy organisation influences your vote and you've never heard of them, that's influence operating unexamined. And most people can't name a single think tank in Australia. Meanwhile, they're writing submissions in the background, reports and media lines that become the main talking points for some, or basically for entire political parties. Now, just to be crystal clear, this is not a video about right, bad, left, good, or vice versa. IPA leans to the right, but the left has its own influence engines, the Australia Institute, Capita, the Grattan Institute, the Centre for Future Work. They shape narratives on taxation, climate policy, workplace laws, energy, economics. You'll see them on the ABC, The Guardian, major papers, that TV show called Q&A. Look, both sides do it. Both the left and the right do it. Both sides push language, not laws, narratives, not acts. Now this video that I've created here focuses on IPA because obviously the Abbott video that came out, then there was the Gough Whitlam anniversary push and recent commentary all landed at the same time that I happened to put my content out. So I thought it was perfect timing to show how that influence works. The IPA has really heavily influenced public debates on industrial relations, climate policy, privatisation, deregulation, university reform, media ownership, constitutional matters, energy policy. This is their stated mission, basically, and they're very proud of it. But the average Australian thinks that the nightly political argument just happens out of nothing. Well, it doesn't. Every battle in Parliament starts as a battle in a think tank, because when everyday Australians try to talk about things like property rights, crown ownership, the Constitution, land tenure, government power, the shift from ownership to access, well, they get shut down with comments like conspiracy theorist or alarmist, fearmonger. Meanwhile, powerful organisations just like the IPA push political messaging every single day, and it's treated like it's completely normal. My message isn't being amplified by a billion-dollar media network. I'm just reading legislation. But when my content begins clashing with theirs, we may see some pushback. Now, I'm obviously not attacking the IPA or any organisation. I'm just exposing the ecosystem. So the politicians don't create the narratives. Narrative organisations create the politicians. The public debates you hear are not organic. They're manufactured, focus grouped, and pushed by influence engines like the IPA for the right wing, like the Australia Institute for the left wing. They don't pass laws, but they shape the conditions that make laws possible. So next time someone says, "Where did you get this idea from?" or "Who taught you that?" or "You're pushing your own agenda or some kind of agenda," well, you can answer, "No, I'm reading the acts, I'm studying." The people pushing the agendas are often the ones that we've never actually heard of, because here's the truth. Every democracy has two governments, the one that you vote for and the one that shapes what you vote for. And unless you know who that second one is, you're not voting, really, you're reacting. Today you've met one of them, the IPA. Now, the IPA isn't the villain, neither are the left-wing think tanks. The villain is ignorance of influence. And once you see this machinery, how it works, you can't really unsee it. Thanks very much for watching. Short video today. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please share it. Share it with a friend. Make sure you like and subscribe. Drop a comment in the box below, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.